Quite restrained, really, low key. Dereck Chisora seems very happy.
Quite low key, not quite available for general circulation. I mean, Sky Sports definitely would have come off the live broadcast for that one. I think sex toys, voodoo dolls, religion, animals, carrots, a lot discussed. But I think they've both probably matured a little bit from that first fight. They've both been rigorously warned by the British Boxing Board of Control, so they have to behave themselves anyway, and they know what's coming. They know that another war is coming on Saturday night, and it's going to be exactly the same as the first fight.
And Dylan seems quite... it's different to the first fight in terms of... You think of the final presser 2 years ago compared to today, he's a different sort of guy.
He's just
now.
grown up.
Yeah.
You know, I think Dylan's always felt like he was the guy that never got the opportunities. So in that respect, maybe he's had a little bit of a chip on his shoulder and said, you know, I'm having to... And now he's had those opportunities. He's done very well for himself. And he's not now looking at himself as a world-class heavyweight rather than just what he calls. He said he used to be a thug. You know, he doesn't have to be that edgy anymore. And I don't think he wants his emotions to be played with in this fight. He's probably got to not fight off emotion in this fight. You know, don't just stand and trade and swing like you did last time. Actually box, keep your form, follow the game plan. But can you do that against a Dereck Chisora who makes it very clear, I'm just going to be in your face from the first bell, and I'm going to walk you down, I'm going to hunt you down, and I'm going to not stop throwing punches. So I don't know if White's going to have a choice but to fight like that, but certainly I would think the instructions for Dillian Whyte are be more clinical in this fight. Don't just be crazy and don't just be there for a tear-up.
How likely do you think it is the winner of this will fight Anthony Joshua next?
I mean, if Deontay Wilder decides to fight Anthony Joshua, 0%, because that's what we want, and we'll be taking that fight. But you know, that doesn't look overly likely that really? Wilder wants to. Wilder's not said one thing since the Fury fight that tells us that he wants the fight. Maybe he's playing a little bit of a game. Maybe he's, like I said, maybe he's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. He says, no, I don't want that. But it's not. You can't ignore it. It's the undisputed fight. It's the biggest fight in world boxing, bar none. So how can you not want it? You know, you can't spend the whole time previously on Instagram goading Joshua, pretending that he's turned down these offers, and then when the opportunity comes to strike and make the fight, not even showing your willingness to do it. So he does have options. The Fury rematch is a big fight, but it's nowhere near as big as a Joshua fight. It's nowhere near in terms of the legacy and the defining moment of your career. Wilder spent a lot of his career saying the fans, everybody deserves one face, one name, one king, whatever he says. Well, that's it. So this is it. So let's do that. But we can't control what he wants and what he's going to do. So we also have to look at Joshua's career and say, okay, if it's not him, who's it going to be? And there are plenty of other options. But Saturday night, we find out if this is a viable option to move forward on.
Talking about obviously a big fight, April. It's not really that long when it comes to promotion and stuff. I suppose the sort of clock's ticking a little bit.
Yeah, we've got plenty of time. I mean, you'd always want to announce that fight sort of end of Jan,
right?
Something like that. Give you a chance of February and March to really build that show. So we've got a month or so, but I don't want to hang around. After Saturday, the strategy for us doesn't really change. It's still Wilder. After Saturday, if Dillian Whyte wins, we're not just going to go to Dillian Whyte and say, let's make the fight for April. We're going to exhaust all avenues on the Wilder fight. And if we can't make Wilder, that's when we look at our other options. And certainly if Whyte wins on Saturday, he will be one of those top options.
The presser was sort of winding down towards the end when Dereck Chisora spoke up again and accused you of not doing right or best for Dillian Whyte in the pursuit of the Deontay Wilder fight, is what he was insinuating. What was your thought?
Well, I think a lot of that's mind games from Chisora, trying to sort of unsettle the camps. But we've done everything we can. If the WBC want to call the mandatory when he's number 4, rather than the mandatory who should be the mandatory who's number 1, there's nothing that we can do. We've been desperate for Dillian Whyte to fight Deontay Wilder. We talked about it for 3 years. We made dozens of offers, and he wouldn't fight Dillian Whyte. So there's not a lot you can do. It's just like if he won't fight Joshua, there's not a lot we can do there. And he says, Wilder says in the media that we're begging for the fight. Maybe we are begging for the fight. That's how much Joshua wants it. We're not begging for Wilder, we're begging for undisputed. That's all Joshua wants. So, but you can't accuse us of running and then begging. Don't really make sense. They're two very different things. So we want that fight bad. And in terms of Dillian, he's been #1 for the WBC. He's now #1 with the WBO. We expect him to be called as mandatory at some point, early 2019. And we've taken him up the governing bodies. He's in prime position. But people have got to want to fight you. And Wilder clearly didn't want to fight Dillian Whyte for a long time.
Well, in terms of Deontay Wilder and trying to make that fight, what is when it comes to dialogue with them? What does that actually involve? Are you in talks? Are you in regular contact?
I think the mistake we made last time, Shelley and myself, was we talked too much.
Yeah.
There was a lot of ego involved. There was a lot of name calling from me and from him. Every time he responded, he went to the media. Then I'd do an interview and slag their team off, and it wasn't particularly healthy for getting a deal done. But I never really felt they were that serious, because when you're trying to negotiate with someone and they're going to the media every time to respond to them first, to tell them what they're going to say to you, it's not encouraging. This time around, we've both given our word that there'll be none of that, and we'll try and work together to try and make the fight. So I'm not going to go into the dialogue or the conversations. That's how it was left, and that is what is happening. I can't tell you we're miles down the road, but I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe they're just messing around, and maybe they're just going to fight Fury, or maybe they want to be the undisputed champion. I don't know. But there's a lot of politics as well. They've got a lot of people advising on their team that want different things, that want them to stay with certain networks, and will turn down opportunities to make sure it benefits them. And it's a messy world, but we'll see. Again, it just comes down to if Wilder wants to be undisputed. If he wants that legacy, he'll fight Joshua. If he doesn't, he won't.